Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce to you the most entertaining player in the world right now. The final boss. It is Dark. With one of his most common counterparts, his nemesis. On the other side, not the Protoss player we deserve, but the one we need right now. The smiling assassin. It's herO. A best of 3 PvZ yet again between these two. I actually looked it up for once beforehand. Jimmy went out of his way to give me the information. Apparently these two have played over 200 times in Legacy of the Void, in professional matches. herO has won marginally more. He's got about a 55% win rate. So, a little bit favored, but I will always favor any match I can get between these two, because it is just such an exchange of dramatic ideas. They both have a unique play style worthy of watching. And if you agree, like, subscribe. Jimmy, what are we at? 1,050. Yeah, it keeps going up. We go up. 1,053. If we get 1,053 likes, I'll cast another series. And statistically, this matchup is... I don't know what sort of statistics we need to draw from, but I feel like Dark versus herO may be one of, like, the top 5 most played matchups in all of StarCraft 2. Like, in the history of all players in StarCraft 2 face each. And then it's Beyond versus, like, everyone. And then Cure's definitely in there somewhere. Which is usually where he ends up, even if it includes the GSL finals. Like, well, starting things off, a pretty typical Protoss versus Zerg. We've got 4 minutes of... Oh, there's an Oracle. This is herO's, you know, he kind of pioneered the Oracle openers, or at least refined them to the extent that they are used today. Oracles into, well, actually, recently Moracles has been the order, as opposed to something a bit more diversified. But it looks like this time he's going to be adding on the Twilight Council, opting for potentially Blink and +1 is the more typical path. Dark tried to dive in with some Zerglings, but the Oracle back at home easily dealt with that. Queen's edge of the creep there, looking for an opportunity. What flavor of defense will Dark be coming in with today? Yeah, a few more drones down, but even the drone for the 4th getting pushed away. Dark not even starting it until the Oracles can be defended. Couple Queens ready to deal with it. 5 just stock Adepts here, no glaives, and charge behind it. Interesting. So enough Zerglings to make the Adepts a little uncomfortable. But then they shade over towards the 4th. Oracle's starting to burn through the HP of that hatchery. Gonna help out against the Zerglings. I think with the spell damage of the Oracle's herO, easily gonna cancel that. Adding Moracles as well. So the Oracle charge lot. And very key, no Roach One. No Baneling Nest right now for Dark. He is entirely reliant on... Okay, there's the Roach Horn. 6 minutes in. Not too late to potentially deal with this, but definitely a little on the later side. His charge is going to be completed before the Roach Horn is. herO's still sitting on 52 probes, continuing to build more. This isn't some sort of crazy all-in. He only actually has 4 gateways and not adding any more. So this is definitely not an all-in attack. But he's got the Pentacles here. 5 of them. The Queen count is only at 7. And they can be isolated and killed. A tried and true way of bringing down the Monarchy. Handful of Adepts into the main, drag some of the Zerglings away, but this will leave an opportunity for the charge lots and the Oracles to slice through. Stasis gonna split off a handful of Zerglings, and what? Oh my, it looked like he had gotten it in time, but some of the Zerglings get shut down. You might be able to use them as a semi-force field here against the charge lots. Dark working with the changing scenario. The Queens, though, being burnt through by the Oracles. The DPS just melting them. and the charge lot slicing everything underneath. 4 out of 5 oracles survive. And now Dark is completely... he's left with essentially okay, he has no anti-air. Queen pops out. Wasn't essentially no, it was literally no. Queen goes down again. Besides the spore crawlers in the mineral line, there is no anti-air. There's nothing to stop these oracles besides the oracles eventually running out of energy. And that means the third base is going to get sliced to pieces. Roach Warren still intact. The roaches will chase the charge lots. hero with a nice amount of probes behind. And, well, overall, it looks bad for Dark. And that is because it is. This is a immensely difficult scenario for Zerg. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong. Dark got a little greedy. He went for the fourth before a Roach Warren. He didn't even bother with a Baneling Nest. I think he was expecting there to be some sort of blink timing, which usually takes a little bit longer to come together. And there will be a blink timing, and it will take longer to come together. It was just we had a slight intermission for the charge lots to completely cut through the defenses and make it almost impossible for the queens to be able to take down the oracles. Now, Dark is no stranger to playing from a difficult position. In fact, he enjoys variety in that. But more and more queens. The regicide being committed here. 12 queens so far. And the oracles are still mostly intact. Has lost 4 of them, but 4 remain. Templar Archives. Blink, +1. Dark is at 114 supply block. So that is not the ideal when it comes to long-term Zerg against a high-economy Protoss. The only saving grace is it is mostly gateway units. And he's only got charge lots, blink stalkers, no splash damage yet. +1 on the way for both sides, a little bit quicker for hero. Not deciding to fight in until he has the warp prism. But hero warping in 6 high Templar. 3 Archons on the way. Oracle's leading the charge. Roach Hydra. +1 done. But Roach Hydra is kind of a basic counter in sufficient quantity to the gateway-based army. And Hero understands that. He's got the Robo-Bay on the way. He's got +1 air weapons, so kind of just following up with the rest of the late game. Trying to get there before Dark, and he should definitely be able to. Dark, on the other hand, seems interested in maxing out here on this Roach Hydra composition. He's at 62 drones, which is about 3 base saturation, minus a couple of the last gas. More cannons on the way. What do we see over there? Warp Prism went down. Not sure if there's anything valuable inside. But Dark managed to get a Prism. His creep spread isn't terrible. A whole bunch of cannons on the way. Hero's upgrading air weapons like he wants to go Sky Toss, and he's slapping down a Fleet Beacon and Stargates, which indicates something very similar. We got Observer Speed. We got +2 ground attack, +1 ground armor. Another Stargate, another Fleet Beacon. Disruptors on the way. Hero getting everything. The only concern might be that if you try to go every direction, you don't really go anywhere quickly. So right now, Hero actually losing the supply lead. Dark, decisive. He's going Roach Hydra. Okay? Not even Corruptors. Not even Corruptors added in like it's 2011. No. Just Roach Hydra. And whatever Zerglings he had left over. Gonna try to pin this down. Hero has 8 gateways. But he is in this kind of progression phase. He decided not to try to end the game there. And I don't really know if he had the opportunity, but he does need to live a little bit longer for all of this to kick in. Of course, 4 disruptors are going to make things quite difficult. They do live up to their name, at the very least. The Ruptors are spotted. Lurker Den is on the way. Is there an infestation pit? No. Which means no Vipers anytime soon. Dark in stasis on the left. Infestation pit starts. Dark acknowledging that this might not quite be it. Initial salvo. 2 disruptor shots, strongly discouraging Dark from coming any further. Hydra upgrades done. +2 ranged attack about to complete. Both sides maxed out, but Dark, well, he's still in the game. So he's got that going for him. He's got a maxed out army. though it isn't the most complex one. It's all about that brute force, the sheer DPS of the Roach Hydra. If the disruptors do not land, outright, like Dark's army in just an A-move fight should win. Well, hero has anything but A-move units, though. He's got foracles, he's got disruptors, he's now getting carriers. Might think of carriers as an A-move unit, but against Dark, he knows just how to manipulate them. Hydras are not... So, for most players who aren't Dark, Hydras are not a counter to carriers. But once again, he just makes it work. So, the carrier count... What's the number of carriers that you can allow to GG out of the game? I'd say half a dozen. If you don't have Aspire, is when it gets difficult. Disruptor shots. Hero kind of pushed up against his own warping cannons. Dark comes in from another flank, collapsing. With a huge amount of Roach Hydra, the vast majority of his army. The carriers have arrived, but the Interceptor's gonna get slapped out of the sky. Hydra's easily pin-cushioning them. Couple carriers, all that's gonna serve is to give Dark warning that he needs to prepare to deal with them. So Hero revealing... It was pretty clear, based on the fact that Hero wasn't trying to kill Dark, that he was teching up. Alright. Hero is, believe it or not, quite a competent player. Though does suffer a blind spot. Unfortunately, that blind spot is usually directly in the center of the gap of his, in his wall. But in this game, a few Zerglings running by is not going to decide it. A few Zerglings aren't going to decide anything, but Dark giving up. As Zerglings are rendered obsolete. He needs to deal with the carriers. And he knows that. We've got 11 spores on the way. Infestors, Vipers, Lurker Rage, Overlord Speed, +3 ranged attack, Neural Parasite, Burrow. Okay, Dark does not half-ass anything. He full-asses one full thing, and now he's decided, all right, the game is not ending. With Roach Hydra, I am countering the carriers. He's lived this long, but Hero now has the Death Ball of Death Balls, which also includes some Death Balls. The Disruptors underneath, the Archons in front, the Carriers behind. This is the army. A salvo comes out, gets 3. Yanks at a Carrier, though. Get over here. 1. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3, and most, one or two of the Vipers got feedback, but getting 3 Carriers. Yanks them into all the defenses. Hero tried to attack, but Dark held the gates. And now that was a lot. Do we have battle, Jimmy? Thank you. And even, how does he do it? 2K to 1K gas. Dark showing that absolute command of these late game units. The units that most players consider hard or near impossible to use well are his speciality. He's got the Infestor Viper, those spores, plenty of Hydras. The Lurker pops out at exactly the time to save it from the Stalkers. And now Hero, he's building a mothership. Which, is about the most dramatic play you can make. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be a liability? Is he committing Protoss insurance fraud? Okay. Hashtag Gate. I don't know. But Storm is on the way. +3 air weapons. More cannons. 27 cannons and counting. How many spores? 20 of them. The semi-static defenses will grow. Fun fact, you can actually consume spores and spines as they are uprooted, which has created some very interesting scenarios with the mobile power banks for the Vipers. But none of those things we mentioned in the production tab are going to be that relevant in this next fight. Hero still looking for his opportunity. Double spot. Wow. I can't get over how decisive Dark is. When Dark tech switches, all right, Dark takes the wheel and swings it all the way to the right, off the cliff, and somehow lands on an entirely different highway and starts speeding along it. Double Spire and Ultraless Cavern. It doesn't get too much more dramatic than that. He's like, no. All right, it's time to complete the tech tree. He's lived this long. hero still has map control. He still has the army to beat. The spore crawlers can't come chasing him across the map, though they can whittle away the interceptor count. Dark actually has a little bit of a better bank. Feedback versus Vipers here. Vipers looking for an opportunity, yanking the carriers. Interceptors flung out. Unfortunately, you can't target parasitic bomb on either the air or the interceptors. Oh, he gets one. He gets two. And another one. Oh, he goes fishing and he comes up big. What if abduct was a skill shot? Or an option for it. That'd be a fun one. Anyways, Tempest. Tempest, a little cheaper, a little better with tectonic destabilizers. Been a while since I've seen that one. Whoa! The Disruptor's trying to take out the defenses. Tectonic destabilizers gives a huge amount of bonus damage versus buildings explicitly. Oh, Tempest count growing. +3 round armor. Melee attack, chitinous plating, and 1/1 in the air for Dark. +1 carapace, +1 flyer. So I imagine Dark's plan is to apparently. Oh my god! No! Oh, how does he do it? One more time, please. One more time. I can't believe. Oh my god! I can't believe he did that. Dark's Burrow Fester. There's no observer. Well, there is an observer. He's still got it. He gets the shot off. Oh my god, hero tried to control it. Oh. So, the Infestor neural parasited the Disruptor. It fired the Purification Nova. The Infestor died. But the Purification Nova was already on the field. The live grenade, the pin had already been pulled. And it ended up, like, hero tried to move it out of the way. It ended up hitting his own Templar. He finished what Dark started. Oh, Dark truly the Joker here. Alright. In order to defeat me, you must destroy yourself and everything you stand for. Hero's like, this isn't the first time I've hit myself with disruptors. Alright, this is not an original experience. Oh my, when did the mothership die? Or did it? Did I completely miss? I can't. I don't want to go back. I can't. I was so excited. I don't even know when it died. Wow. Just a complete and utter failure there. I mean, we all know the mothership is essentially just a 400 mineral laundering donation to the Zerg. About 90% of the time. But still. You know, I think the more exciting part, he's gonna get +3 air armor. Denied. Yeah, by far the most exciting part was the neural parasite. Watching a mothership die is just like... It's like the ending of a Marvel movie, I guess. Alright, you know the heroes are gonna win. There's gonna be some strife. Did I just spoil this game? Maybe. So the way Dark is playing right now... Well, Disruptor shot storms. Tsunami of splash damage. Hydras, lurkers, infestors, corruptors, spore crawlers. Both sides with the most technical, complicated armies. Making it very... Oh my. 18 corruptors. Still some infestors underneath. Neural parasites. Some of the Tempests. Yanks them in. Doesn't bother trying to use them to snipe. Just grabs him. He's got multiple ways. Under and overhanded ways. I still can't get over that disruptor shot. That's not the first time he's done that to hero. But it's great every time. Dark with the most value out of neural parasites. Oh, but the corruptors, where are the Templar? Where are the Templar? Oh god. He loses 3 Tempests. Templar, a little bit embarrassed, but quite far behind. Corruptor count up to 28. 21 lurkers. He's got a very dramatic set of units here. Even some Void Rays added in. Here come the Infestors. Here come the Infestors. Does he have detection? He yanks in a carrier. Knocks it down. Wait, what? Dark's drones are here. Okay. Just happening through. He's still mining from this base. What a power move. He doesn't even need to be long distance. Like, I guess he has a few too many drones here, but Dark down to 59 drones. Hero going for... What is that recall? He recalls to the top right. I think Dark realizes something is amiss. He didn't... Was that the mothership recall? No. There's a mothership just kind of dying to spores. It has only marginally more HP than a single carrier. So, well, the mothership is down to in the... And you can't repair it, so... Well, and can I get another one? Come on, Dark. Big game hunting. Alright, the Quadriruptor gets a lurker. He's got enough energy. The interceptor count is precious low. Ultra's on the way. The cannons are hitting drones. This is happening. Alright, the lurker's gonna move forward to help deal with this. Hero still with the army to beat, but he gets a... Dark gets a revelation! Dark, neural parasites and oracle to get a revelation. And there it goes. Alright, well, he took a ton of damage. A whole heap and helping on those corruptors. They'll heal slowly, but... Also lost a couple Vipers in there. And despite everything, despite all the plays that Dark is making, he might be winning the battles, but the war is still trending heavily towards Hero, as he's taking those center, well, at least one of the center bases. He's mining out the top right corner. He's contesting the bottom left. Dark can't even hold on to more than his first 4, which is a testament to his cost effectiveness. But he's running out. Spores still moving around. Ultras have hit the field. Disruptors dodges away, but the spore crawler's in an awkward scenario. Hero chunking through. Changeling's taken out. Well, here come the Ultras. The Ultras to try to just absorb the hits. Oh, those tiny lisks. The Smoltralisks. Neural Parasite's one of the carriers. 2. Free kills there. Uses them against him. The Ultras will help take out a lot of the ground army in Dark. With next to nothing in the bank. He's still maxed out. The Ultralisk Infestor Corruptor composition. How many Ultras? He's got 10 Ultras. Another mothership on the way. So the value of the mothership is in the cloaking. The ability, you need to force detection. You make it that much harder to get abduct, that much harder to actually pick out any of the units and deal with them. The Ultra's just chewing through this base over here. Still Infestors underneath. There was a revelation. If Hero loses this base, that can be a turnaround here for Dark, who is still maintaining near 200 supply, despite everything. A few Void Rays mixed in. Very nice. Oh, lurkers from the bank. Are they on? There's no way he has them on hold fire. No, they should be attacking. He has them on hold fire. He's holding. Oh, he unleashes them onto the Templar. It's just not quite close enough, because of course there are a few observers in there, but yeah, there's no way they wouldn't be attacking that pylon. He set the lurkers to hold fire, trying to wait for the opportunity. How is Dark still nearly max? He's making 4 more Ultras. That's kind of crazy. He's got 30 Corruptors. 3-3-3 on the ground. And 2-2 in the sky. Dark Shrine on the way. Hero can't seem to break him. Dark's army supply sitting at 154 right now. Ah, that is just so much Zerg. Storm's washing over everything. Infestors looking for an opportunity, but the feedback lands. Parasitic Bomb, Corruptors moving in. The splash damage is taken out by the Ultras, though. And without the Archons, without the Templar, the splash damage isn't there. And Mothership number 3 may very well be dealt with. The Corruptor is definitely struggling against the Void Rays. But the Mothership will be taken out. Stalkers are warped in, and Dark is doing it! Oh my god, Hero refuses to stop building Motherships. Yeah, I don't know what the end of that battle exactly would be fought with, but it appears that the rest of the battles will be fought on the ground, as neither player really has the ability or the potential income in the future to rebuild these super high economy spellcaster compositions. No, we're back down to Stalkers and Zealots and Zerglings. And Hero still has a lot in the bank, and Dark can't really afford to fight this war too directly. Adrenal Gland's not done. Oh, Dark Shrine done. And the DTs are warped in. The DTs might be a deciding factor, though Dark still has a lot of Overseers. Oh, those are Changelings in the middle of the map. Hero draining his bank. He's building Immortals now. Oh, the DTs show up. A bunch of Archons with the army. Hero's entire Sky Toss army got wiped out of the sky, and wow, the supply shifted so quickly. I want to go over that last bit. He loses the hatch. The cannons, the Stalkers, the Archons. An exhausting game, but Dark has nothing left. Dark just... The bank finally comes through. I think if Hero had rebuilt Carriers or Tempests, yeah. Most of Dark's army supply that's left is in Corruptors. Wow, what a knockdown, drag-out slugfest. Oh, so many rounds back and forth. Dark beat the Sky Toss. Dark eliminated Sky Toss and forced the Protoss back to the ground. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite compete with it there, but I really thought Hero would just walk over him. With the charge lot army. But Dark in trademark Dark fashion holds on and ends up dragging that to one of the most dramatic late games possible, almost mining out the map in, I'm gonna say, just 30 minutes, which is pretty quick in the grand scheme of things. Still were a couple bases left to be potentially mined from, but so scary what he can do with such a, like, almost the entire game with a worse economy. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Dark. Well, Cyril outplays you. Cyril's mechanics. He's the latest model. Alright, he's just a little bit faster, a little bit better. You're just not gonna quite keep up with him. Dark was like Rocky, alright? Sometimes tenacity is enough. Sometimes just dragging it out for long enough allows him at least a shot. Because he can take a punch. Oh. I think there are some Zerg players who would have just straight up GG'd during that Oracle charge lot timing. Down clearly in workers. Terrible unit composition. Forced to go Roach Hydra. It was a little curious that Hero didn't press the issue further, but against it, most of the time, it is safer to just go to Sky Toss, as Sky Toss how you beat Zerg. Most of the time. Well, how do we follow that up? Another... I don't know. I think that's part of his entertaining style, Dark as well. You can't really predict what he's going to do. I would go so far. I would venture to say Dark can't even predict what he's going to do. It seems like sometimes he just decides, all right, it's time. Slams out another 20 roaches and just pulls the queens. Maybe puts a dropper lore together. I mean, I'm sure he has paths he likes to go down, but those paths may not become clear until he's already walking them. I love the split there as well. It's just so fun to watch, like the variety in the Zerg play. These adepts doing way too much. Alright. Oh, and then the Oracle comes in. The kicker here. The Spore Crawler are body blocked out the queens. Oracle gets away with murder. 4 kills. He didn't have a third. And now the probe. Okay. Oracle's back at on the defense. Pylon going to be taken out? No, he's going to go for the adepts. Just kind of dancing around right now. Keeping an eye on things. And it appears this is one of those times. Dark just holding down the Z key. On paper, this is a questionable idea. I'm going for a bunch of Zerglings against a player who already has oracles. Adepts, their base is pretty well established. But he's decided. Alright, he just throws a few Zerglings together. Who knows when hero will not have a unit in his wall. I maintain that hero's win rate in Protoss versus Zerg would be at least 5 to 10% higher if Protoss had doors. Or if they literally just had supply depots. Okay. Not even, like, the supply depots don't even give supply. They just are a wall that you can lower. Alright, that's it. 10% bonus win rate for hero. It is a bit embarrassing how many games are either decided or dramatically changed by him doing less than his best at covering the wall. Though this series, not yet. Alright. I just say yet because rarely does a PVC go by where I don't have to facepalm a little. Oracle still sharking around. Dark built a bunch of extra Zerglings, but I think partially. So, one, he finds a few gateway units exposed. Gets a Stalker, a couple of Adepts. 2, if Hero had gone for the follow-up with half a dozen or so Adepts, like he did in the previous match, then you kind of just end up... like, those are the Zerglings for dealing with that. You do not want to be caught, like, 3 Oracles, 6 Adepts with only a handful of Queens. It's just not going to work. You're going to lose all your drones. Nah, this is a bit lazy. Overlord's wandering across. Wandering slowly but surely towards the Stalkers into their death here so far. Robo Bay on the way. This time it's going to be blank. And +1 ground weapons for hero. Robo Bay. Ah. That's the swarm host noise. Like the actual swarm host noise. I'm not sure if we're looking at swarm host or just infestors in a quick hive. As, well, maybe we'll get a quicker scout here. But this definitely could be a swarm host game. Let's see. There they are. 11. Negates the stasis. There are 2 Colossi on the way. So, 13 Swarm Hosts. Well, Colossi are pretty good at dealing with the Locusts once they hit the deck, of course. The Locusts can fly right by their heads and drop down in an ideal location. Ricky and the boys. This time, not accidental. This time they were called in. This is their moment. And that first wave of Locusts is going to be very important. Hero, as you can see, already trying to drag it out here. He's trying to keep Dark from being offensive. The best defense is a good offense against Swarm Host. But unfortunately for Hero, not going to be able to utilize that. Yeah, he's trying to draw some of the Colossus fire. Yeah, he gets a couple of the Stalkers. But when on cooldown, those Swarm Hosts are dead supply. Bunch of roaches on the way. It's going to be +1 for both sides, but extended thermal lance as well as +2 ground weapons for Hero. His army supply is dramatically lower, but once again, remember, those Swarm Hosts not doing anything while they're on cooldown. So the active army supply without the Locusts is about even. And this is a dangerous... It's an old kind of style, the Blink Stalker Colossus. But it checks out. Alright, pops the Locust wave. Queens will absorb a couple of the thermal lances. Stasis catches a huge... That might... This is the awkward situation where it might be actually too much of the army. He may have caught too much. Well, he's going to isolate and kill a lot. The Swarm Host. So, the awkward part here is so much of Dark's army is in stasis. The Hero's not really respecting it. It comes out on top of the Colossus. And he's losing a lot here. 20 more roaches on the way. The Swarm Host got about 10 more seconds on cooldown. +2 ranged attack finishing up. Spore Crawler's almost killing the Oracles, getting a little bit of damage against the Colossi. The Locusts have recharged. Dark has one more wave here. And Hero's been managing it really well against this. GG. Hero is able to take it pretty short and decisive conclusion. I expected a little more out of the Swarm Host, but there just wasn't the lead up to it. Hero was not slowed down on his build. The Zerglings didn't get in. And that means that Dark was unable to drag it out for long enough to really get the value out of those Swarm Hosts. So, pretty decisive victory out of Hero there. And he will be taking the series 2-0, which continues to perpetuate. Continues to perpetuate. Those are all the same words, by the way. Jimmy, did we have... I thought we had a bonus game. Oh, we did. Okay. Another Protoss versus Zerg. The anti-spoiler bonus game. I hope this is the right one. There's no different title on this one. But it's featuring it's another Protoss versus Zerg. We didn't quite have... I debated so with the bonus games. So now that you've gotten this far, you know. But so that way, those of you who check the video time and are like, I think I know who wins. Well, guess what? Not all series will have bonus games if they're 2-0. The idea is to keep you guessing. Don't cheat. And I don't think you'll be disappointed to see what we have here. Oh, I lied. This is not Protoss versus Zerg. Jimmy, you know what? I'll allow it. I think Jimmy may have loaded the wrong game. But we're here now. Max Packs versus Stats. The Shield of Fire versus the Twilight Toss. The accidental Protoss versus Protoss. Yes, I slipped a Protoss versus Protoss in. Jimmy, we're going to have a talk about this later. But Stats has been sharking around tournaments. Honestly, has not found the success. For those who don't know, Stats returned from his military service earlier this year. And he's returned to being competitive. But it is a tough time for Protoss all around. And he struggled to maintain that more stable. So stats, the Shield of Ire. Well known for this is not a best of 3. We got a one-off game here. But, well known for that defensive and stable style, but I think as time goes on, it becomes clear you can't really get away with that nowadays as Protoss. Now, PvP has always been a bit of a poker game. But a poker game where neither player is actually holding any cards. They're just pretending they have cards. While, like, putting a whoopee cushion under their opponent's, on their opponent's chair. And, randomly firing pot shots from a BB gun in their general. Okay. Or whatever this is. Okay, no. Max Pex is shield oh, okay, yeah. Okay, this... So, let me break this down. That's Max Pex's pylon. Stats is... No, that's not a wall. So the setup of the wall... So wait, no. Okay. So Max Pex is using the shield batteries to break through the wall of stats. And he can reshield his own pylon. And the shield battery... I could commentate, but I feel like a pain silence would describe this better, so I will do that. You may not like it, but this is what peak Protoss versus Protoss looks like. Okay, there's a Stargate. Oracle coming across. So he's still going. Stats built another pylon. Oh yes, PvP. So he's going to have... There's no shield battery. He's going to get the pylon. He's going to get one of the pylons. That won't depower anything. It's a far cry from supply blocking stats. The Oracle, now there's a shield battery in the main. He overcharges the shield battery to deal with the Oracle. Meanwhile... So... So this is a pretty standard macro Protoss versus Protoss here. Oracles will come in and burn through a few more of the probes. Another adept. Once again, back to that whole door conversation. If Protoss could just build a supply depot, we would never get any of these, let's choose a word, curious strategies. So, stats is down 10 probes. Max Pex only has one gateway. They're both going blank. So here we are. On paper, I think stats is behind, but we don't play on paper here. We play on like some weird version of, I don't know, like Windows 3.1. I don't know where that joke was going, but I don't know where these builds are going either. I really thought we had a Protoss versus... I thought this was like stats versus dark or something. But I think Jimmy may have clicked on the wrong game. We got stats! And then I was truly surprised. The most beautiful surprise is... when I load the game and I'm like, not only is this not a PvZ, but it's also just completely... Oh. Well... I feel like PvP... It's hard to describe my feelings. And PvP, so I guess, yeah, it tracks. So now... Winter, you can't just keep saying things are weird and crazy, you don't understand them. But I like to be honest with my viewers. I know that's bad marketing. Anyway, hallucinated immortal against blink stalkers on both sides. Guardian shield. Pretty sure stats just has more stalkers. If that immortal was real, of course it'd be devastating. But does MaxPax know it's not real? He didn't target it, so I think he does. Yeah. Or does he? He now has a... Well, he had the Stalker lead for a moment. When that immortal isn't there, is he going to be sprayed? He does not have an observer. He doesn't have any detection. Another Guardian Shield. Guardian Shield, a big deal in these fights. Shield Battery. Gets the Sentry. More Stalkers just wandering across. Alright. Stats still struggling in the probe count, but doing okay in the Stalker count. Upgrades a distant dream. Shield Battery overcharge here. MaxPax's gonna wait it out. He's just leveraging his higher... Well, it's 4 gates to 2. So the Stalker count, alongside that economy, is just gonna keep growing. A Dark Shrine for MaxPax. Charge for stats. +1 for both sides. As the Blink Wars seem like they're gonna end somewhat inconclusively. Well, the micro back. They're both doing an incredibly capable job. Actually, what? Are you insane? That's about to change. But they've... Can you... Oh my god. Okay, this is blowing my mind. Up until this fight right here, only 3 Stalkers died the entire game. That is insane. Well, now a whole bunch more. Stats somehow turns it around. But before that last engagement we just watched, through like half a dozen Blink skirmishes, there's a grand total of 3 Stalker kills. I think it was like 2 to 1. It's like where MaxPax lost 2 to just 1. Well, of course, at some point, that HP damage adding up, the outright DPS of the army is enough to actually start landing some kills. But the control, the fencing, like a lightsaber duel. Well, not really like that. That would just be like zealots slapping each other until their shields are gone and walking away. But... until finally someone cuts through. But still inconclusive. MaxPax has most of the advantages. He has more probes. He has the Dark Shrine. He's got more gateways. He's got a 4th base. He's a little bit behind on Stalkers, but stats has held. The Shield of Iron has held the defenses. Can't believe MaxPax started with them. I think that's actually quite common. I'll be honest. I've avoided the psychedelic experience that is Protoss versus Protoss for a little bit now. As, let's be honest, mirror matchups don't do usually as well here on the YouTubes, in my experience. But from what I understand, it is a relatively common build, especially on... Oh, that's not good. Well, DT slips in, so even if the Stalkers are able to defend, there was a recall into the main. Cannon dealing with the DTs. And now everyone piling in yet again. Charge lots battling it out. Observers. Wait, who has... Okay, so more zealots chasing it down. The battle will spill over into the middle of the map. Even a probe getting in on the action. Stats is attacking. A DT, I have to assume it's a DT, has 11 probe kills. Well, Stats gets caught. The charge lot's warping in. He tries to turn the tables on MaxPax, but MaxPax breaks the table in half and slams it into Stats, as he'll give up some of his 4th in favor of just crushing the army there. And Stats now down 50 supply, lost 25 probes. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that Protoss versus Protoss, cherry on top of the Dark versus Hero exchange. But hopefully you're enjoying the bonus games. Once again, something to mix in. They've been well received, but obviously I don't want to always add a bonus game because that would be a spoiler in and of itself after a time. But this essentially randomly picked PvP. I think it was definitely the wrong game. Well, there you go. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill. How many likes, Jimmy? 1,053. Okay, stop. Cut.